What is it that makes a story great? Plot. It's what holds the story together and keeps viewers engaged, so it's no wonder that many popular manga have great plots, such as a pirate looking for an unfindable treasure to become king of the pirates, an outcast wanting to become a great ninja and lead those who shunned him, a boy trying to get his balls back, a kid with no powers trying to become the world's greatest hero. Wait, what was that other one? Dandadan is one of the most popular manga series to come out in the last few years, and yes, that's the plot. I know there's a lot of strange manga plots out there in the anime and manga space, but those are usually small budget cult favourites or series that just have banging theme songs. But Dandadan is a huge success with over 10 million copies in circulation and the anime blowing up to a huge mainstream audience. And for the glue to hold that series together to be a dick and balls joke is insane. Sure, it might work for a Family Guy episode, but for a mainstream manga series with over 200 chapters, it's unheard of. Or is it? Because another and arguably even more successful series that started at a similar time to Dandadan is Chainsaw Man, a far more serious series that explores themes of control, desire and trauma with a huge amount of violence and dark scenes. The plot is about a boy doing jobs in return for sexual favours. And yes, I know that is a gross oversimplification of Denji's character and misses the context of why he is the way he is. But I'm focusing solely on the plot here, okay? So 2 of the most popular new-gen series have these strange plots. But why? Well, I think the biggest and most obvious reason is that there are huge cultural differences between Japan and countries in the West, especially when it comes to comedy and sexual encounters and relationships. And this difference is seen massively in the way they are depicted in media. One of the biggest reasons anime and manga was looked at so strangely by people in the West and its readers were ostracized for so long was because of the way manga and anime approach things like fan service and comedy of a sexual nature, especially when centered around minors. In the West, you wouldn't see an author put minors in the positions that you see them in manga unless the point is to show just how awful a thing it is. But in Japan, it's approached and accepted in a much more casual way. A big reason for this may be that up until late 2023, the age of consent in Japan was only 13 years old, and sexual relationships are very different when compared to the West, with there being a much higher threshold for what is considered sexual harassment in Japan. Because of this, things of a sexual nature are often a vehicle for comedy in things like manga and anime and Japanese TV, and that's because shonen is targeted towards teenage boys, a lot of the comedy used in their series are more raunchy and slapstick type of humour, and because of this can start to leak into the main plots of the series, which is why you end up with things like a whole series centred around finding someone's balls. And because of this difference in comedic taste, this may lead to the plots chosen in these series to be considered as weird by people in the West, like us. Or me, I don't know where you got it from, innit? But this isn't anything new. I mean, even Oda, the author of my favourite series, One Piece, still thinks that the gag of Sanji's character being a pervert is funny 20 years later. It isn't. And whereas for many Western fans, this has actually ruined Sanji's character, so much so that Netflix felt the need to scale back Sanji's perviness in the live-action adaptation significantly, whereas in Japan, it hasn't affected his popularity, with him ranking 4th in the most recent popularity polls. But surely, a series that's plot is as strange and shallow as these must have a ceiling. Well, actually, no. If you go back to Weekly Shonen Jump's Golden Age, which is actually before the Big Three, where the magazine saw its most success with series like Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho, you'll find that a lot of the plots there were also very suspect. Even for example, Dragon Ball, one of the most successful and culturally significant IPs ever made, began with Goku and Bulma trying to find the Dragon Balls so that she could wish to find herself a boyfriend. That's right, the high-stakes, galaxy-destroying battles that we see from Dragon Ball today began with a 12-year-old Goku and a 16-year-old Bulma trying to collect the Dragon Balls so that she could find a boyfriend. And you can't get much shallower than that. Also, if you think that's a waste of the Dragon Balls, you should have seen what the wish was actually used on. Comfortable pair of ultra soft. Yeah. And this isn't a one-off thing. Even Slam Dunk, another wildly successful manga from the Golden Age, begins with the main character joining a basketball team to try and impress the girls. And although that's more of a personal goal than maybe the plot, I think you get what I'm trying to say. That maybe this isn't a new thing started by the new generation, but a return to default after the ambitious and grandiose plots from the time of the Big Three and the series they inspired, and people have always been fine and attracted to these more relatable and shallow plots. Also, another thing that I think has been slightly forgotten as anime has become more and more mainstream over the years is that anime is weird. And it always has been. But now, because of less strange series like Naruto and Demon Slayer becoming popular, I think some anime fans are forgetting just how weird anime in general is. So stop getting cocky, okay? You're still a loser. And if you watch enough anime to a point that you started reading manga, you're an even bigger loser. No, but seriously, although manga and anime have some of the greatest stories ever, they also have some of the most insane ones. I mean, listen to some of these plots. And yes, they are all real. Prison School is about 5 boys who are the first to attend the formerly all-girls school, Hachimitsu Academy. And because they are teenage boys, and this is an anime, they're obviously caught trying to spy on the girls in the changing rooms. And they're then sent to the school's prison. The school's prison. The plot of the story is focused on them trying to survive their time in prison while being basically tortured by the student council. As a quick sidebar too, why is it in manga that the student council have so much power? Like, is it really like that in Japan? Because in England, I swear, all the student council do is set up a sweet shop and break every now and then. But in manga, apparently they're the fucking president of the United States. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Also, the etchiness is insanely over the top, but whatever. It is actually quite a funny series. Now, if I told you this next series is about a main character who wants revenge after his little sister was killed by demons that are terrorizing Japan, you may think, that's pretty normal. That actually sounds pretty good. You may even want to read it. Well, I left out one important detail. The main character's a chicken. Well, a rooster, but same difference. Why? Like, I don't understand who's sitting there watching, like, an action anime about revenge and thinking, you know what, make him a rooster. But no one thought that coming out of John Wick. It would be better if he was a rooster. Like, literally these guys did, but I don't know what's going on over there, man. But I guess this is more just a weird concept than, like, a weird plot. Like, the plot does seem pretty normal. And I actually have heard it's pretty good. Now, I'm using this one because I think it matches up best with my points earlier about the approach and sexual content in manga and anime. But really, it's just about isekais in general. Shoku Tensei, or the Jobless Reincarnation in English, is about a 34-year-old man with no jobs or prospects in life who gets beaten by his own family after spying on his underage niece in the bar. But after he dies, he's reincarnated to a world of magic. And now, with a new life and these new abilities he never thought he'd have, he spends his time trying to sleep with his underage cousin. Oh, come on, man. I know there's a lot more to the story than that, but a lot of time is spent on this 34-year-old man in a child's body trying to do things with other children. And although it is harsh to throw all isekai into the same boat, as there are a lot of really good isekai series, if we're being honest, a lot of them are like this. And although the concept of an isekai story isn't that strange, I mean, there are very famous stories even in the West, such as Alice in Wonderland, or The Wizard of Oz, which are stories about entering another world. But the new isekais you see in manga and anime just have some of the strangest plot. And I get a lot of that is for comedy, but as I said, the comedy just doesn't translate over sometimes, and these plots just seem very strange to me. And that's not to say they're not entertaining. I mean, I've read and enjoyed some really strange isekai in my time, but some of them you just can't read because the characters are just too strained or the plots are just too creepy. And overall, as I've been mentioning, weird. But as I also keep saying, anime is weird. And although that can be a bad thing, at the same time, it's why anime and manga is so great. It's unequivocally unique, and why for so long it drew in the outcasts and gave them something to connect with. And I think it makes its strangeness beautiful in its own way. I know I got a bit soppy and touchy there, but seriously, Japan, you need to tone it back with the sexualizing of minors. It's 2025. Not that it was okay before 2025, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, that's it. So thank you for watching. And if you know any weirder anime plots, leave them in the comments below. And if you could like the video if you enjoyed and subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. See ya.